I downloaded Tinder on a lonely Sunday night, telling myself it was just for fun. Nothing serious. Just something to pass the time while the rain tapped against my windows and the silence in my apartment grew louder than my thoughts. I had resisted for months, maybe years, but loneliness has a way of making excuses sound reasonable. I built my profile carefully. A few decent pictures. A short bio that made me seem relaxed, normal, safe. I told myself I wasn't expecting anything real. Just a distraction. A conversation. Proof that somewhere out there, someone might choose me. Swipe left. Swipe right. Faces blurred together. Smiles, group photos, people posing with dogs, people posing with drinks, everyone advertising happiness like it was a product. Then her profile appeared. Lily. No crazy poses. No flashy filters. Just her standing in what looked like a small bookstore. A faint smile on her lips. Dark eyes fixed on the camera, like she was looking through it instead of at it. Her bio was short. I like honest people. Don't lie to me. I remember hesitating. Something about the sentence felt less like a preference and more like a rule. Still, I swiped right. It's a match. The excitement hit me faster than it should have. She messaged first.
Hi.
I was hoping you'd pick me. I smiled at my screen. Of course. How's your night going? Better now, she replied instantly. We fell into conversation so quickly it almost felt rehearsed. She asked where I worked, how long I'd lived in my building, whether I enjoyed living alone. Normal things, I thought. First date curiosity. Yet there was an intensity in the way she typed, like every answer mattered more than it should. Then she sent another message. You look nice in blue. I frowned at the screen. I checked my photos. None of them showed me wearing blue. I glanced down at myself. Blue shirt. A slow chill crept up my back, but I forced a laugh. Lucky guess, I told myself. Nothing more. I wrote back. Haha, how did you know that? 3 dots appeared immediately. I can just tell, she said. And for some reason, even though the room suddenly felt smaller, I kept talking. We agreed to meet the next evening at a quiet cafe downtown, the kind of place with warm lights and soft music that made everyone look a little kinder than they really were. I arrived 20 minutes early, blaming traffic even though I had walked. Truth was, I needed time to breathe, to convince myself that the strange feeling from our chat was just nerves. I checked my phone. No new messages. For the first time since we matched on Tinder, she was silent. I wondered if she would even come. Every time the door opened, my heart jumped. A couple walked in, then a group of students, then an older man picking up a takeaway order. Not her. I practiced a smile, tried different versions of hello in my head, wiped my sweaty palms on my jeans. Then the bell above the door rang again. I knew it was Lily before I fully saw her. She stood in the entrance for a moment, scanning the cafe, until her eyes landed on me with unsettling certainty. No hesitation. No confusion. Like she had always known exactly where I would be sitting. She looked just like her photos. Same dark eyes. Same calm, unreadable smile. She wore a long coat, even though it wasn't that cold. I stood up, nearly knocking my chair over. Lily. Hi, she said softly. You came. The way she said it made it sound like she had doubted I would, or maybe like it would have been dangerous if I hadn't. We sat. A waiter passed, and she ordered for both of us without asking what I wanted. It's what you like, she assured me. I almost corrected her, but she was right. The conversation flowed, but it felt strange, tilted somehow. She listened more than she spoke, watching my face with complete focus, like she was memorizing it. Whenever I laughed, she laughed half a second later, as if she had learned the timing from a movie. Then the details began to slip out. She mentioned my university.
My hometown.
The street my parents lived on. I felt my smile weaken. I don't remember telling you all that. You didn't, she replied. She reached across the table and touched my hand. Her fingers were ice cold. I pay attention, she said. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't on a date. I was being studied. By the time I got home, the night no longer felt romantic or exciting. It felt staged, like I had just walked off a set where everyone else knew the script except me. The streetlights outside my building flickered in their usual lazy rhythm, but even that seemed like a signal now, some kind of code I was too stupid to understand. I locked the door behind me and checked it twice. Then a third time. I threw my keys into the bowl near the entrance and stood there, listening to the quiet hum of my apartment. Refrigerator. Wall clock. Pipes. Ordinary sounds I had heard 1,000 times. Tonight they seemed closer, heavier. My phone buzzed. I flinched so hard I almost dropped it. A message from Lily. I had a really nice time. I swallowed and typed back. Me too. 3 dots appeared immediately, like she had been waiting with her thumb already on the screen. I liked watching you smile. A strange sentence, but maybe sweet, I told myself. Maybe she just meant during the date. I set the phone down and walked to the kitchen for water. My reflection in the dark window made me jump. For a second, I thought someone was standing on the balcony behind me. Another buzz. I like when you get nervous, she wrote. My mouth went dry. How do you know I'm nervous? I replied. You keep rubbing the back of your neck. My hand was there. Right then. I spun around, heart hammering. The apartment was empty. Couch, table, hallway. Nothing. I checked the bathroom, pulled back the shower curtain, opened the closet. No one. I laughed at myself. A weak, embarrassed sound. Maybe she was guessing. Maybe everyone does that when they're tense. I returned to my phone. I guess I do that a lot, I wrote. A picture arrived before I could lock the screen. It was me in the kitchen, hand on my neck, taken from behind. The angle was wrong for the windows, wrong for the hallway. It was taken from inside my apartment. My chest tightened so fast I couldn't pull air in. I typed with shaking fingers. Where are you? The reply came at once. Close, Lily said. My heart began to pound so hard it blurred my vision. I read her last message again and again. Close. It felt like the word was moving, crawling across the screen, breathing. I forced myself to think. There had to be an explanation. Spare key. Open window. Some stupid mistake I'd made without realizing it. People didn't just appear inside apartments like ghosts. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen counter, the handle slick in my sweating palm. This isn't funny, I whispered, though I had no idea who I was speaking to. Her. Myself. The walls. My phone started ringing. Lily. For a moment, I considered letting it scream until it stopped, but the sound felt worse than silence. I answered. Hello. Her voice came warm and calm, intimate, like she stood right beside me instead of somewhere inside a phone. You're moving around a lot, she said. You should stay where I can see you. Where are you? My voice cracked. How did you get in? A soft sigh traveled through the speaker. You make it sound so ugly. I'm not in. I'm just near. Near. I backed toward the living room, my eyes jumping from shadow to shadow. The hallway was empty. The front door was still locked. Chain hanging exactly where I left it. You said you lived alone, she continued. I do. You shouldn't lie to people you want to trust, she whispered. I never lied. The line went quiet, but the call didn't end. I could still hear her breathing. Slow. Patient. Then another sound slipped into the room. Fabric brushing against metal. I turned toward the balcony. The curtain trembled, barely moving, like someone had touched it and then tried not to. My throat tightened. Lily. No answer. The curtain shifted again, a little more this time. Enough for the night air to creep in, carrying the smell of rain and the distant noise of traffic far below. I stepped closer before my brain could stop me, each foot heavy, the knife shaking in my hand. Please, I said, not even sure what I was asking for anymore. The phone, still pressed to my ear, filled with the sound of her smile. I'm proud of you, she murmured. Now you're being honest. The curtain began to open. The curtain flew back with a snap, and I lunged forward with the knife, more out of panic than courage. Cold air rushed into the room, but there was no one there. The balcony was empty. The street below rolled on in distant indifference, cars passing, people walking, a world continuing like nothing had split open inside my life. My phone slipped from my hand and hit the floor. The call had ended. For a long time I stood there, chest heaving, waiting for someone to rise from the darkness, to laugh, to admit it had all been some elaborate prank. No one came. Eventually sirens filled the distance, growing louder until red and blue lights painted my walls. I must have called them. I don't remember doing it. The officers searched everything. Windows, locks, closets. They were gentle, but I could see it in their faces. Confusion first, then doubt. There's no sign anyone else was here, one of them said. I showed them the messages, my hands still trembling. I opened the chat. It was gone. Her profile, our conversation, the photos she sent, erased, like someone had wiped a board clean. Maybe she unmatched you, another officer suggested carefully. She sent me pictures from inside my apartment. They asked if I was under stress, if I had been sleeping well, if I took any medication. I stopped arguing after a while. Their explanations were easier than mine. In the weeks that followed, I moved out. New building, better security, cameras at the entrance, deadbolts. I told myself fresh walls would mean fresh air, that fear couldn't pack boxes and follow me. Most nights, I almost believed it. But sometimes, usually after midnight, my phone lights up on the bedside table. No ringtone, no vibration, just a sudden glow that pulls me awake. There's never a number, never a profile picture, only a message waiting on the screen. I'm glad you're sleeping better, it reads. Or, you remembered to lock the door tonight. I never reply. I never breathe while I read them. Last night the message was different. Shorter. You're alone again. I keep the lights on now. Because I understand something I didn't before. You can delete Tinder. But you can't delete someone who has already found you.